An interesting
All right.
Bill,
tell me, Ruth Welch is a member of the board as the former president under the bylaws. With counting her, do we have a quorum? Can we start without Rob?
4, 5. Yes.
5 of 9.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's start, and Rob will come along. We've called the roll, got the quorum. Would you have any minutes? The motion is to accept the April minutes. Is there a motion to that effect?
I move that the April minutes be accepted.
Second.
Is there a second?
That was Jean. Who was the second?
Yes.
Was it? Thank you. And you
Okay.
notice Jack requested that the financial part of his report be recorded with the minutes.
Yes. And we'll post the minutes, but on the website, but not the financial report.
Okay. Fine.
And then we've got two resignations. I've been given two motions. The first is dealing with the exceptionally gifted and dedicated Secretary Bill Ratcliffe, and the motion is that the board accept with regret the resignation of our faithful and effective secretary effective August 5, 2016, with appreciation for his continuing to serve us until he leaves for England April 6th. And would somebody make that motion?
Is it April?
I'm sorry. Don't listen. That's why we have these meetings, is to keep me straight.
Yeah.
August.
Yeah. I was going to say it's a long time betwixt August and April.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you very much. Anyway, that's the motion. Does somebody move that?
I would if I could.
Walt Boyer, I'll move that we accept with great appreciation all the work that he's done. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And that he's hanging with us till he heads out to England. Okay. Is there a second to that?
I second it. Jean
All right.
Hurley.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
That's all opposed. And the other motion that I have is that the board accept with regret the resignation of Jack Snyder, expressing appreciation for his service and his willingness to be of help to the board in an unofficial capacity as NaCCRA charts its way forward. Is there somebody that would make that motion?
So moved.
Rodney, welcome. We're going right ahead here.
Sir.
So let me, Rod, we approved, we've had the roll call, we approved the minutes. Let me just give you the motion that just passed and the motion that's before us. The motion that just passed was that the board accept with regret the resignation of our faithful and effective secretary, effective August 5, 2016, with appreciation for his continuing to serve us until he leaves for England on August 5th, until he leaves for England. And the second motion that's before the board right now is that we accept with regret the resignation of Jack Snyder, expressing appreciation for his service and his willingness to be of help to the board in an unofficial capacity as NaCCRA charts its way forward. Now, that's been moved and seconded, and I'm asking now, are you ready to vote?
Sorry, there was no move and second on Jack Snyder that I recorded.
All right. Is there somebody that will move it?
Walt Boyer removed it. I didn't hear a second.
I second it. Jean Hurley.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All in favor of that, then say aye.
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 Okay.
Before we
Opposed?
move on, can I just ask one question?
Sure.
Will Jack Snyder remain on the task force with Leading Age?
That is one thing that we've got to sort out.
Okay.
And that's all I can tell you. As I've indicated, I just got back last night, and a lot of these things came in the last 48 hours while I was gone, and I can't answer that. I have talked to Jack, and I'm Jack Snyder, but I can't recall bringing that issue up. But we will sort that out.
Okay.
But it's a great question. And number 4, bylaws. The only thing to report is that Kim sent out the electronic ballot and the 3 ways to respond by USPS, electronic mail, and I forgot the third one. What's the third one, Kim?
They can respond by fax, by emailing, or by USPS.
Right, okay. Anyway, so they're out there, and so it's so early we don't really have a tally. I mean, they're beginning to dribble and drab in, but I think it would be premature to try to. It's like, the polls haven't closed yet, and NBC's trying to predict the winner of the Wisconsin primary or something. So let's just be grateful that the ballot's out, and we'll look forward to a good response. And it's important that the board vote, and the board's constituents in their states vote, so we don't have to do this again. If there are suggestions, of course, we're open to them. So that's the bylaw.
Jack, is there a deadline, Bob?
Yes, it's August 31 at midnight.
All right.
And that's on the ballot.
Because I didn't get one.
Oh, my gosh. Kim, send
I have one in my hand that I copied off somebody else.
Okay, good. And we turn to the finance report. Jack Cummings is not on the call, and I'm just trying to look at my notes here. I guess the best thing to do is just to have a motion that his financial report be received.
So moved. Rod Letchworth.
All right. Thank you very much. We've got that under control. All in favor of receiving the financial report, say aye.
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 It's opposed. I mean, it's supposed. It's approved.
Yeah.
I've been up too early. I've been up too early this morning. Anyway, it's approved.
Rod proposed that, and I didn't get the second.
Rod moved it. Who seconded it?
Okay, how about I, Bill Ratcliffe, second?
All right, that's great. All right. Now
Right.
The Lifeline and editing and publishing. Since we prepared the agenda, and I want to get this as carefully stated as I can, because I've been known to get in trouble because I didn't state it carefully. As Jack Cummings has had to withdraw from editing this issue, I would like a motion that says that the executive committee will work immediately on an alternate plan for a person to edit the edition as we move to the quarterly pattern. And we have some ideas for that, but it's not ready to be discussed. In other words, don't worry, it'll be taken care of. But we need for the record a motion that the executive committee will immediately, in light of Jack Cummings withdrawing from editing this issue, the executive committee will work immediately on an alternate plan for a person to edit this edition. Is there somebody who will say something like, I so move?
Bill Ratcliffe, I so move.
All right, we got a bill and a Walt, and that we understand that in a minute we're going to look at starting the quarterly pattern, but let's break these into two. So all in favor of, as Jack Cummings has had to withdraw, the executive committee will immediately work on an alternate plan for a person to edit this edition. All in favor of that, say aye.
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 And opposed. And Kim, I've talked to Kim this morning at 5:15 a.m. while I was asleep in my bathrobe, and she said that she will work closely with that person, and we will get it out on this revised timeline, which is the next item. If you look at your agenda, that the next issue of Lifeline be the start of the quarterly pattern using electronic delivery. The deadline moved to mid-July with publication in early August, and a late September email bulletin to be sent out to bridge until the next final quarterly issue of the Lifeline to be November, December. So this is the transition point for implementing what the board has already decided, but when we decided, we did not fix a timeline. So this fixes the timeline to implement a previous board action. So we're voting not on should we go to a quarterly or should we da-da-da-da. We're voting on when the timeline goes into effect. So this is a timeline decision, not a decision about quarterly publication. Is there any question on that? I want to be sure.
The timeline would be the next issue now that comes out. It would be July, August, September. That's quarterly, and then the final issue for the year, October, November, December.
Yeah, but the next issue would probably be issued sometime in mid-August.
We're skipping July altogether?
You said early August here in this.
Yeah, early August. In other words, as soon as we can get it out.
That the last issue says it was the May-June issue. So we're going to skip July altogether. We're not going to say anything about that on the next issue.
In the motion, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it says it be moved to mid-July with publication in early August and late September email. So
but what goes up on the under the issue? Is this the July, August, September issue?
Well, we'll work it with Kim as to how to title it, what to put on the letterhead. Kim, can you help us get through this as we transfer to a quarterly, what we put up there, and it'll be the first issue of the quarterly publication, and we could call it the fall issue and the winter issue or something.
What I am suggesting is you do third quarter edition.
Yeah, there you go.
The third quarter of the year.
Yep. Makes sense.
Which is July, August, September. Yeah, that's the third quarter.
That's what we do with all the other, and outside of the office when I get quarterly publications, that's the way they do it as well. So it's that way kind of across the board.
Well, Kim, that's very, very helpful. So we have a motion before us about the timeline. Would somebody move that? Once before I moved something and I got called on that I can't move things.
No, you can't.
Somebody else get in a moving spirit.
Rod Lexworth, so moved.
All right. Is there a second?
Oh, boy, a second.
All right. We got a move in a second, and we got a motion, and we've got Kim's clarification that we're going to start titling third quarter, first quarter, which is helpful. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Opposed? No. When we get to Lifeline pricing, what I want to suggest that since Bennett is in Europe, when we get into pricing, I really would like Bennett on the call, and I think we'll just hold off on that. And can we put in the minutes that we postpone this until our next meeting when Bennett can be on the call? That will be the resolution of item number 7. Number 8, the committee structure. Walt Boyd worked hard in a number of ways to develop leadership on these. Walt, do you want to add anything? I know that you have a lead on a board member and a lead on a treasurer, and but I think it's premature to start talking about names right now.
Well, I think it is a little bit, but we do need to work on getting these committees going again. I have a list of, I guess, a total of 8 potential committees, of which we're apparently active at the moment. Only 2. The 2 that are active are the Bylaws and Rules Committee, which is the, last I heard, it was the board acting in front
as a committee of the whole.
Committee as a whole, right. And the State President's Committee. The others that are in limbo at the moment.
Well, no, we have the Leading Age Task Group, which is a committee.
Yeah. The Membership and Dues, which was chaired by Charlie Pock. CCR Financial Soundness, which was chaired by Gerard Harlan. The Legislation, which is the Joint Task Force. We need a recruiting committee.
Yeah, badly.
we had a Residents' Rights Committee, which was led by Dan Seeger, and I think we also need a communications committee, although Gene has been doing a lot of work on that regard. We really need a committee to add to it because I think there's a lot more we can do.
Under communications, it's not on the agenda, but both Jennifer Young and Martha Marks have been working hard at improving and expanding the website and the outreach of that website and following up people that visit the website and making it interactive and making it a way that people can join NaCCRA through the website, which we didn't have before. So I'm hoping that as we get down to item number 11 on Indianapolis program, that they can join us in that morning discussion because they will have some great ideas on communication.
Mm-hmm. Along that line, I don't know if it was Bennett or Kim that made the suggestion, but the idea of having a broadcast email every month, I thought was a good idea. So we need to do things like that and more, I think. One of the suggestions that I want to make is to the board members is that as a board member, you consider being the chair of one of those committees. And I think that in North Carolina, that's sort of one of the conditions of being on the resident council is that you head up a committee.
Yeah.
And so I'm suggesting that maybe we might want to consider something like that ourselves. Let
me ask Ruth Walsh. What Bob Nagel has got a major conflict today at another conference he's in.
Yes, he does.
How would Bob work as a financial soundness committee chair?
I don't know. When I talked to him, he's overwhelmed, and he was thinking maybe because of his, I hate to say the word, his age, that he could not be effective. And I said, you have such wisdom that that's a big plus for us, and he's got the background knowledge that none of the rest of us do. So I said, wait till after we see what today brings, and then maybe there's a possibility of something. He just doesn't want to be in the way, and I said, you really not, but he needs a little direction, I think.
Yeah,
but
I
think his wisdom is valuable beyond.
Oh no, it is. It would be. In other words, if I were to be the chairman of Financial Soundness, I'd like his wisdom.
Yes.
And he would be glad to do that, I think.
I think. But to chair it, I don't know.
But I don't. It doesn't sound like it.
An advisor kind of thing. That would be something he would relish.
Yeah. Well, listen. Thank you for that. Anything else, Walt?
I think that's it for now.
Okay. Well, let's move on then to the item. Indianapolis, the meeting rooms, well, we've got the meeting rooms all set up. Pardon me, excuse me. The meeting rooms, they don't set the meeting rooms in the convention center and the hotel until about 30 to 45 days out, but we do have meeting rooms for all the events that are planned, so there's no worry about that. We just don't know whether it's in a hotel across the street or whether it's in the convention center. But in terms of the program itself, Jack Cummings made the suggestion, and I followed up and forwarded it to Sharon Sullivan, that Sean Kelly, the president and CEO of Kendall, who's on the Joint Task Group, and who's there are, 10 or 12 communities in the Kendall family of CCRCs, and they have an outstanding record of resident engagement, that he be the speaker for the resident luncheon. Now, it's the leading age resident luncheon. It's not the NaCCRA luncheon, but they accepted our idea along with they proposed Jack York, who deals with technology for older adults. And Jack has been the founder and CEO of It's Never Too Late. That's a reassurance for all of us. and that deals with the technology and older adults, and that fits in with our thrust on technology that both Jennifer Young and Martha Marks will be doing, which gets to the next point of they're doing a preview or a review or a presentation of the NaCCRA website, and with its new dimensions of interactive with the forum of the PayPal join online, and the fact that we moved all the NaCCRA documents from NaCCRA U, and just to walk through the people who are there with us, the members, how to use the website, and they'll have a screen, and they'll actually walk people through. At the same time, we will have them do a preview of the Orange website, the New Jersey Association, which does one of the best jobs of every year surveying a host of issues that are lively issues in residence, like increase of monthly fees, emergency preparedness, food service, representatives of residents on boards, etc. And it looks very much like Katie Sloan will be with us to bring readings from Leading Age, and so that's and then Ruth and Kate are working on the booth, and it's come together. We're kind of emphasizing that it's going to be residents who are engaged, connected, and involved. Do you want to add anything, Ruth?
No, we are devising because we had to redo the backdrop. In the previous years, Leading Age has stored that backdrop for us with a few minor changes, but because of the storage and the cost thereof, we're going to be making a new backdrop, and so that's in process. But one of the things that Kate wanted us to all have, and we're going to manufacture for us all, is some kind of a little button that would indicate that we are residents and we are engaged, connected, and informed. And so whatever happens for the backdrop, and that's still in process, but we do want to let everybody know that you're going to be wearing a really nifty button that nobody can miss. Oh.
There you go. And Leading Age, by the way, Leading Age funds the backdrop, and they'll take our suggestions, and we've asked several people if you have ideas or have a photo of that shows residents engaged, informed, or connected, share them, and they'll work on it.
But yes, and we're really looking for pictures that show everybody working and interactive. We get so many very busy committees, and we want everybody to see that. Not that we're doddering, and not that we're going to sit and rock, because we know this group does not sit and rock.
Yeah, no, this group rocks.
You bet. But it's in process, and I talked with Sharon Sullivan, and we have a deadline of 1st of August, so time's on our side to get this in process, and we're working on it as we speak. Okay.
Well, let's also, there's a motion here, and that is we've got some real challenges before us. Let me phrase it this way, that NaCCRA was formed by the states to be the voice of residents nationally, the only national resident association.
Right.
In making that, in doing that, in taking and in implementing that vision, there was inadequate provision for infrastructure that included funding and membership. So for 16 years, we've been trying to deal with how do we become that effective voice, and we've had struggles. Let's put it that way, and we presently have struggles. So that in talking to a number of you, and our nominating committee has an enormous job under Walt's leadership, so that my reading of this is that the nominating committee, with as many board members and other interested parties, meet face-to-face from 9 or 9:30 on the morning of October 29 before the President's Luncheon to give Walt and all the help possible as we look to leadership needs for the post-Indianapolis time in 2017 and beyond. And this would kind of be an open forum where anybody who's has an interest in NaCCRA could come and talk with us and tell us of their willingness to help, or tell us of people that they know of and that they're willing to contact that will help us in putting life into these committees and being sure that we have a full and effective and functioning board. So this is a motion just to approve an additional event in Indianapolis at, we can call it 9 o'clock for now, to look at these leadership challenges. And a part of those challenges, of course, will be what does a national resident association do to justify its existence in terms of advocacy. So with that overly elaborate introduction to this motion, Walt, do you want to speak to this?
No, I don't have much to say to it right now because the motion sort of catches me a little bit by surprise. But
well, you would accept the help.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Well, that's what I want to do, is to rally help, because what happens is that somebody takes a job, and I've had that job of membership, and let Bob do it, let Walt do it, let Ruth do it, and we want to rally some people to help it happen, help find the resources, find the dollars, find the people, find the leadership skills to make it happen. And this is one attempt to concretely try to do that. And if we had, I'd even go so far as to say, let's invite the states to send someone to come here. That, in other words, the states created us. We're struggling to get the states to support what they created, but one way they can do that is, for example, in Washington State, there's a budget for the state president to come. But to get as many of our states to come so we can begin to discover who are some people out there in Pennsylvania, or if the president can't come like George can't, maybe like somebody else came in his place. Anyway, that's something that we can let Walt work on because he's working with state presidents. But this would be a rallying point to help us move forward with leadership development that we need.
Absolutely.
We need a lot of work before that happens.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, no, we do. There's no question about it. And the good news is that we have several candidates already lined up, so we're not sitting still, but we've got more to do than we can do between now and then.
Okay.
Okay, can somebody make this motion since I can't? It's in the minutes.
So moved. Rod Lexworth.
All right, Rod, thank you very much. And is there a second?
I second it, Gene Hurley.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, and that my comments were a paid political announcement on behalf of the nominating committee. A report on the leading age relationship. Jack has. Now, why does my thing say document XXX?
Supported by document D.
You're looking at the wrong agenda. There's been.
Anyway,
you need D.
Okay.
It should say supporting document B. You're looking at the old draft agenda.
Well, I see it. But in Jack's absence, let's thank him. I invite a motion to thank Jack for the report and to receive it.
Yeah, I move that. Walt Boyer.
All right. Is there a second?
Second. Rod Lexworth.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Not for the minutes, but let me express the frustration of the president. I was startled, as were Walt and Boy, and we were all startled that, and I know this is being broadcast, and maybe it's not as widely as so, but I was startled that the work that we had done so thoughtfully and thoroughly that culminated in a September meeting in Larry Minnick's office where he said, sign the agreement or we'll part as friends.
Uh-huh.
So we worked like crazy to sign an agreement that we'd hammered out, that everybody was happy with. And so Katie Sloan appointed this joint task group from Leading Age and asked us, and they started the meeting with no attention to the work that we'd done preparatory to that time. And Steve Magg, who is the leading age staff person that works with the Joint Task Group with us, I personally handed him a copy of the signed document that Ruth Walsh signed on behalf of the board. And I said, I certainly hope when Steve Bagg was here that the Joint Task Group, the leading age side, has seen this. And I'm not sure that it got to them because it did not at all come up in our meeting in Washington, D.C. on March 16. So
That is so upsetting after all we went through.
No, it is. I mean,
like
and so so the eggs that I'm walking on is we've clearly stated that Jack Cummings is our liaison with leading age, and when we have our next meeting, which I'll bring up in a minute, we need to have some questions that we put to Jack to put the leading age on behalf of the board, because we've been kind of the passive partners in this after being active. So this is just a background president's perspective and bit of frustration. So as I say, don't put it in the minutes, but that's something we need to know.
Absolutely.
Let's move on now to the communications from Walt from
Walt.
Had a meeting with the state presidents yesterday, a rather short one. I don't want to say too much, but a couple of things that they brought up.
Could I interrupt you? How many states were represented?
There were only 3 states, well, 4, including myself, I guess, that were represented there yesterday. And we had to defer it from the week before because of some bad communications. And only 3 people showed up yesterday. But what I did find out is that Virginia has been pushing very hard to get this Medicare bill passed through the Congress. I had suggested that perhaps other states might want to do the same, and the other 2 really were not that interested in pursuing it. They had some issues with bed taxes in Oregon, and bed tax had been killed in Connecticut.
That's correct. I was going to say you should check with Bob Nagel. He was instrumental in that happening.
Well, apparently that comes up again about every 5 years or so. They start bringing it up.
Yep.
We killed it here in North Carolina. It's a problem right now in Virginia.
Any way to get a buck.
Yeah. But anyway, there was not that much interest in writing letters to the Congress. I still feel that we need to do something this year for our residents if we want to keep going. Otherwise, we may find ourselves in even more serious financial difficulty.
I know.
I asked what kinds of things they would suggest for NaCCRA to do. And among other things that were mentioned was a tutorial on membership. Apparently there are a number of people who are not getting this notification about the voting. So we need to understand how that's working and how membership is maintained. And people are reminded that they need to renew their membership.
Right.
And get that organized. Another one was...
Could we stop just there and turn to Kim? Could we, from time to time, it's important that Will bring us up to date on the membership renewal steps that are very thoughtful that he takes, and do a background statement to the board with copies to each state president that we work diligently, and we, that being Will, works diligently to do these 3 things when a person that is a month before, 2 months before, we send this and this and this, so it's outlined. And then number 2, that the ballots have been sent out in this. So remind everybody what has been done, because it's very easy to say, why don't you do something when you've been doing it. I mean, it's easy to criticize without knowledge.
Let me start off with the ballot. We all, and I had mentioned this before, that when this was communicated in two ways. One was in the last issue of Lifeline, and then we emailed it out. When we email out, we use Constant Contact, which is a mass email service. It gets caught, especially in spam filters where people are not, for lack of a better term, they're not working at a company where those spam filters are a little bit less obtrusive. So people, and I've talked to numerous people who called and said, I heard an email went out, I never got it, you don't have my right information. Well, they're not checking their spam filters and their junk folders, because as I walk them through that process, oh, here it is, I never check my junk mail.
Yep.
So, having said that, that's where 90% of the quote-unquote, I didn't get an email has landed.
Yeah.
So that is, I mean, and I can resend out, we can mention it again. It's on the homepage of the website.
How about this? Let's update the board with just what you've said, with a copy to the state presidents that say the ballots on the website. You've had numerous calls and people have gotten it, but their spam filters blocked it out, and we want to do everything. We're doing everything possible to get it out.
Okay.
So that something that's positive.
I just got back. But I just wanted to add, we're working with Will. When there are new members who are new life members, or people who have upgraded their status to life membership, he gives me those names, addresses, and so forth, and I write a personal letter to each of those people, congratulating them on their status as life members, and sending them brochure and a bookmark thing or other. So Will and I are in constant touch with one another as well. For the life
and Will is so very responsive and so very thorough and very competent. I mean,
yep.
If there's a problem, he fixes it.
Yes, he does. But
I think if this came up in the president's conference call, that it would be helpful for the board and for the state presidents to know from Will, this is what we do in the renewal process.
And I'm sorry to say, but you got to pat yourself on the back, because he does do really superior work.
And please tell him that, Kim.
Absolutely. And pardon me, when is the state president's call?
No, it just was over, but it came.
Okay.
The question came up in the state president, but Walt can forward it to them and say, look, the president's brought this up, and I followed up, because it's always good to hear that somebody heard what you said and is following it up.
That's
right.
So we're going to follow up on the ballots, and we're going to follow up on the renewals.
Gotcha.
Bob, can I get a word in?
Sure. Oh, sorry, I'm on my call.
Kim, if you will email me the process and what's been happening, I will send that email on to all the state presidents.
Thank you.
There you go. Okay, well, thank you very much. Let's see here. Is there anything else from the state presidents, Walt?
Yes. They added that we need to spend more time working on things for the residents and less time on organization. That was one comment. Another one was, we need to ask the states what they've done and see whether or not those ideas are expandable into something that can be done nationwide or for a large number of states. And also to conduct some surveys of the residents. And I have to think a little bit about what kind of surveys do we want to run on the residents. But I think the first step, if we're going to run surveys, we probably want to do a broadcast email on those. And we need to get all the residents understanding what's happening to these broadcast emails.
Okay.
Before we do that.
You know, one year, I'm trying to think back one year in response to the president saying we need to know what different states are doing, what we can learn from each other and share. We had the states bring to the NaCCRA board or the NaCCRA general meeting a one-page summary of what they did in the past year. It might be it might be good to invite the states to bring to the NaCCRA fall meeting, October 29, a one-page sheet on what they've done in the past year and what we can learn from each other.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, we'll do something like that. Yep.
That would be, and that would be another way of engaging them. In other words, we need somebody from your state present for the 9 o'clock meeting on Saturday and the board meeting and the president's luncheon, but also at the journal meeting, so the membership can hear what's going on across the country in our states, that we can learn from each other, support each other, and encourage each other.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to turn that.
And also, one of the other issues, because we don't have money for stamps and this sort of thing, is how you manage some of this communication without exorbitant expenditures.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to number 14, website report. Martha Marks, I don't believe, is on the call, but she has been working diligently, and I can report that she has told me, and I think in our last meeting told all of us, it'll be in the minutes, that they're moving to a 2-tier system where members will have a password and get all the documents, the minutes, et cetera, and have a public forum also, and that we'll continue the interactive forum with Jennifer Young in a minute to get the PayPal in place so that people can join online, and then she and Jennifer are going to do this preview of what they're doing, so everybody will be up to date in Indianapolis. And Jennifer Young's, I never know what to call people like that.
Yeah.
Jennifer Young's, partner, significant other, lover, Jack, who's a graduate of Sunset High School in Dallas, Texas, which were the arch rivals of Woodrow Wilson High School in Dallas, Texas, where I went to school, is a very gifted electronic media kind of person, and is going to bring a camera or a projector that can, as I understand it, Jennifer or Martha can download or connect with our website, and then Jack is going to project it on the screen, and they're going to walk us through it. So they know what they're doing.
He's also a PR person, so that's good, very great.
Yeah, and they're very inventive. And Jennifer, speaking of what have you done for me lately, that question comes up so often. And you asked Jennifer Young, what did NaCCRA do for you? Well, I was in a bankrupt community, and I turned to NaCCRA, and they helped me navigate my way out of it.
Yep, I remember.
So we need more testimonies like that. The staff report minutes is away, and we will. The one report is that the registration is now complete in Maryland. Bill, can you fill us in on that?
We got a letter before the last meeting confirming that they'd accepted all the documentation and the money, and it was all we were all official again. In Maryland.
Well, right. I have some input here. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, please.
All of that is true. However, when you go to the website, it says we are revived, our articles of incorporation have been revived, but we are not in good standing. Okay. I finally got a hold of someone up there, and it's because the 2016 tax return had not been done. The person I talked to said that I did not have to do a 2016 tax return. Therefore, I got past the legal, and they said I do. So I've got all the paperwork done. And then the process of getting it to Mr. Ratcliffe for his signature, we go through the same process again, and that will fix the problem. But as far as articles are revived, that is correct.
And what's the cost?
Nothing.
Nothing. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, right. It's just a pain in the you-know-where.
Yes, sir.
Don't put that in the minutes, Bill.
No.
Thanks, Kim. I didn't know anything about that at all.
It just all came through yesterday afternoon when I was on the road.
Okay, that explains
Okay, but anyway, but the answer is all the ducks in a row, and after Kim does her magic and gets the tax return in, they will let us be in good standing. But anyway, it is up on the website in Maryland, and so that those who worry about us will see it's there. Okay. Any other business that we need to look at, including the next meeting?
Mr. President, can we
Yes.
go back to the item of the website? I have something to add for that.
Sure, please do. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Martha, on everything, and as she, I believe, reported to you, she had to change one of the technical plugins for the website. As soon as she has got that all complete and runs the test with PayPal, we should be almost ready to roll with PayPal, but it's kind of in a holding pattern because of the plug-in she had to replace.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, somebody else was getting ready to say something.
No, I just said that's very convenient if we can do that.
Yep.
Yeah. The next meeting, it's summer, and sometimes we've not had a meeting in July. We need a meeting, and we have some vacation schedules I'm aware of. I'm going to ask that the board, ask the Secretary and the President to canvass the board we can meet, and that meeting be focused almost exclusively on personnel and budget so that we can deal with that. And my recommendation would be, and I not necessarily want to put this in the minutes, but that it be an unannounced meeting to the public, but that it be a closed executive session since we're dealing with personnel and budget.
Uh-huh. At what date do you have in mind?
Beg your pardon?
A date. Did you have a date in mind?
No, I don't have a date in mind. I think we're going to poll people to see what, to try to do it on the phone now would be hard, but it would be out 2 or 3 weeks. In other words, it would be a kind of a early summer, midsummer meeting.
Okay.
But we really have some sensitive issues to deal with financially and in terms of personnel.
I will tell you that Bennett's calendar is very full in July, and so the first 2 weeks in July, I'm sorry, the first Friday's the 1st. We're off on the 4th. So that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday the 8th would be best for him, it looks like.
Would you send me an email to that effect, Kim?
Yes.
And then I'm going to send it to the board and say, of these 5 dates, which Bennett's available, because he is integral to this meeting.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And how does the rest of the board sound with this idea?
I'm thinking July the 6th is the first Wednesday in July.
Right.
And is this something that's, is it involving different people than the regular board meeting?
No, this will be a closed executive session of the board, not announced, to deal with personnel and finances.
But the regular board would be involved. It isn't just an executive committee meeting.
Oh, no, the regular board would be involved. No, but we've got to talk frankly with each other about some very difficult matters. And I must tell you, I have heartburn and Maalox moments when we are dealing with these sensitive matters and we have, budget crises and personnel conflicts, and it's being broadcast.
I agree.
Yeah, so can't you just schedule a closed meeting for
Yes.
July the 6th, which is the first Wednesday in July? A closed meeting. But
yeah.
And we call it executive session.
Yep.
And that's what was confused. Gina, I'm sorry. It did confuse people when you say executive. It sounds like the executive committee. It's not. when you go into a meeting of, and is Robert Rules an executive session? What do you call it when you deal with personnel and finance?
It is an executive session, yes.
All right. Well, I didn't make that up, so it is.
And that makes sense. Then you can talk issues.
Yeah. Well, let's quickly poll. Bill, would you mind taking notes here? Call the roll and ask people if Wednesday, July 6th is suitable for such a meeting, and let's get an answer from each person.
Right. Walt?
Hold on a minute, I'm looking for my calendar.
I mean, it is the date we've got in the calendar already for most of us, I imagine.
Yeah.
Come in.
July 6th.
I'm on a conference call.
July 6th is okay.
Okay.
Okay. Jean?
Yes, good. July 6th is good.
Rod?
6th is good.
Good. Bob Nagel's not here. Bob Nicholson?
Good.
Bill Ratcliffe, yes. Pete Straub is not here, so we don't know, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. Ruth, how about you?
Yes, I will be here.
And Kim and Bennett, you say, is okay?
Yes.
All right.
That would
Now, I need to also clarify one thing, that Ruth Walsh is a member of the board without vote. She's the past president.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Ruth, I
That's
dropped
all right.
your name from my mailing list. You're back on it now.
Thank you so much.
And she was our heroine that bailed us out in the abrupt resignation of the former president. And we appreciate her very much.
Yep, we certainly do.
Okay. Now, is there any other business? I appreciate everybody's help, and we'll follow up, and we have some good things in the offing of...
Just one question. How's registration going for the hotel? Do you know? Are we full up?
I don't know.
Yeah, because I know Kate and I are set, and the man who's the president of NaCCRA is set at that hotel as well. Which is neither here nor there.
Okay, hang on a minute. Hello, Nicholson.
Mr. Ratcliffe, I'm assuming that the call on the 6th would be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, all my phones are going off at the same time. I apologize for the interruption.
That was nice music, wherever.
Yeah, that's right. Well, now that's the end of my agenda, and I appreciate everybody's help and presence, and we'll be in touch.
Okay.
So meeting adjourned at 1:55?
That's right. Thank you all.
A record.
And I was going to say, since I haven't been up since 5:15,